Good afternoon, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a wonderful week. All right, so last week I showed you how we traded 3,000 pips in a week. Obviously, that was one of the better weeks that we've had. So this week we have traded another 848 pips. I'm going to show you that during trade setups. Win or lose, we're going to show you all the trades, whether they go the focused direction or not, so you can see what happens when the trade does not go the right way and why it actually goes the right way. This is practical, so that's why we have to show you everything. So this week we have made some 848 pips, which we will go through shortly. But before we start with the weekly analysis, the time now is 5 minutes after, let's just say, 1300 p.m. South African time, which is 11 a.m. GMT on a Saturday morning. So that is going to be officially the times for this webinar. So if you'd like to join us live, log on at that specific time. You simply have to register once for the live webinar. And to get the webinar link, you can find that webinar link under the description of all the videos. Rather, if you need the live webinar link, go to our website, elliottwaveprinciple.com. On the home page, you will find the live webinar link for the weekly outlook. So you can join us live and you can interact and ask questions while we are on live. Right, so you can also follow our Twitter page, follow us on Twitter as well as on Facebook page. So just to give you an indication of what's happening on the Facebook page, we post up all the trade setups before and after, whether they go the direction we focus it or not, because we do know that trading is not, there's no holy grail. So we show you everything. So if you want to see some of the setups and how we took those setups, you can look at those on our Facebook page. So that is our Facebook page. So you can see one of the trade setups that we discussed last week. We have just updated that one about 10 hours ago, and how this one has played out. So just want to show you what you can see there. So what you're seeing here is not necessarily after the fact. If you go to last week's webinar, this is where we were last week, and eventually we had this correction doing this, and then we dropped on oil. This is how this has played out, and this is what you can always refer to. So what I'm showing you during the weekly outlook is the forecast, and what you're seeing here is how we actually take the trades. So there is a difference between forecasting and trade execution. Anybody can do a forecast. It's always easy to forecast where the direction of the market is. What is critical is the timing of the market. When do you actually execute the trade? So this is a Brent crude, and this is how Brent crude is going. It has not reached the target yet. We're still looking for it to get to that target. So we'll do an update on that shortly when we start with the market analysis. So that's just to show you what's happening on the Facebook page. So that's not the only thing. So you can, if you scroll through, you'll see a number of charts, plenty of charts with structures that you can look at here. So here is just another example of silver that we showed last week here. So this was a 1-2 here wave. This was the trade execution, how we traded this one to the downside. So you remember how silver has done in the last week. This is how silver has played out, right straight into target and made a reversal exactly as forecasted. So you can look at those setups on the website. So you will also find the live webinar link for the weekly outlook here as well. So that is on Facebook, and similarly you'll find the same on our Twitter page. You just go to the Twitter page, you'll find exactly the same. So whichever platform, social media platform you prefer, you'll find all of those there. So this is our page there. I hope I'm opening the right one. So let me just get this one right again. Just 1 second. I think I've opened the wrong one here. Let's do it again. So this is the one here. Right. Now I'm opening the Facebook page. So we need the Twitter page. Let's get this right. That is the one there. Just close there. Right. So this is the Twitter page. So you'll find similar on the Twitter page as well. All the setups, all the trade executed, you'll find them on our Twitter page. You'll also find the live webinar links if you'd like to join us live. Right, so that's all our contact details there. You can also join us on Telegram. This is where I post also the live webinar link and some setups. We've got a number of setups for this week. So the market is setting up really nicely for even more great moves in the next week. So look at when we start with the market analysis, there's some really, really interesting setups for the next week. Right, so that is Telegram, TradingView. You can follow on that link there on TradingView. Now, our next course is starting tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is the 5th of August. The next course starts tomorrow. The timing is 1800 GMT. We started 1800 up until about 2100 GMT daily from Mondays to Thursday for 2 weeks. So this is a 10-day course, right? So if you'd like to join us, you need to make a booking on our website. At booking, you will find the fully recorded course. So that means you can start watching the course before we even get live for the next 10 days. So that's where you'll find the course. Right, so look out for the timestamps as well. If you're only interested in watching specific tests, you can check out the timestamps there. That's how it makes it very easy. You can only go to the specific setups that you're interested in. I know not everybody wants to watch the whole webinar. Right, so let's get started. We'll start with trade setups. I'm not only going to look at this week's. I'm going to look at from last week, from the week before as well, so we can update going into this week as well. So last week we looked at how we traded gold. Let's have a look at how gold played out. So this was the entry on gold. I will show you the specific setup on gold and how we entered gold. So what and what we expect the next move on gold to be this week. So this is how gold played out last week. We forecasted that it was going to make a move. Last week I even showed you the video from 3 weeks ago, how we forecasted that this was going to drop, and eventually we had the drop up to this level. We're up, making a bit of a pullback here. We still expect gold to make a continuation pattern to the downside, right? So we'll do that shortly with market analysis. So this is gold, so it's just showing the setup there and how that has played out. All right, so let's look at the rest. Now this is pound Audi. This is the trade setup, buying it from there and making a move to the upside. Let's have a look at how this one has played out. Now, what is the next move on pound Audi? This was last week. What has happened since last week? We have not reached this level. Instead, we've made a 3-wave pullback. What do we expect? What is the next move on pound Audi? We'll look at that shortly and show you and update what we're looking at for the next week. Right, so this is Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand, a very interesting one. We actually on a trade here to the downside, not to the upside. Okay, we've already completed this move, as you'll see in the next slide. We've already completed this upside. We're coming down here. We are in a trade here. I'm not necessarily gonna show you the trade setup, how it has completed. It is currently running. I'm going to show you what is happening. Next week, I will update this one. So this is Euro New Zealand. Now, this is Euro New Zealand. We expect this one to make a continuation to the downside. We already have a trade running from around these levels coming down here on Euro New Zealand. So I'll be doing an update on that one shortly. And next week, I'll update you on this exact trade and how we executed it. So this is New Zealand Chief. New Zealand Chief, let's have a look at New Zealand Chief. New Zealand Chief, as you can see, we have made a drop here. We've made a bit of a bounce. I will do an update shortly on what we expect the next move to be. Right, so I've already shown you silver, how we forecasted this one. I've shown you this one on our social media platforms. So that was a forecast on silver. Inch perfect, no painless trade. It's a very painless trade, straightforward, textbook setup. This is how this one has played out. That is how that one played out. Played out together with gold. So this is now oil. We expected them push to the upside, and the current move to the downside that you see on oil is this forecast here. Right, so this is how oil has played out, and last week we showed you how this is going to continue dropping from here, and you will see this week how this one has dropped from here and continued to the downside. We are around this level on oil. This is how we forecast using wave analysis. All right, so this is AUDCAD. I showed you AUDCAD, how it made the move to the upside and then downside. This is now where we are. We'll be doing an update shortly on that one as well. Right, AUDCHF before and then the after move, that is how this is dropping. We're expecting this one to continue to the downside. Let's see how this one plays out this week. We'll do the update shortly. Right, EURAUD, this was also last week. I showed you this one last week, how this one broke to the upside, has not reached this level yet. We are around these levels here. So we'll do an update as to what we expect the next move to be. This is how this one has played out, similar to pound Audi. Right, you can see there. So this is now US dollar JPY. We're looking for this move to come to this level. This was last week. We showed you this week, last week, how this one is going to make a move to the upside. We are around these levels. We are actually making a corrective structure here. We'll be expecting this one to make a continuation pattern to the upside. Let's check how that is going to play out shortly. This is AUDJPY. Coming down like that before and then after. I'll show you the update on this one. Right, this is now US dollar CAD. US dollar CAD inch perfect makes a move to around that level. We're expecting this one to continue to the downside. We will be looking for this trade to the downside. You'll see why we're expecting this one to make a move to the downside. Right, so that is US dollar CAD. Let's see how this one has played out. As you can see, this is all the forecast. So what I'm showing you, these charts are posted for members on the website. This is how these have played out. So that's US dollar CAD. Right, now this is pound US dollar. So pound US dollar. I showed you this one last week, how this one has made a move down here, and we were expecting this one to correct and continue lower. We are still in this correction. It does not look like it's dropping just as yet. Even if it does drop, it may drop after hitting our stop. So we'll be watching this one anyway. I'll be updating this one. This is last week's chart. It is currently doing this. It has not reached this level as yet, but it is still in play. The trade is still in play on pound US dollar. Right. Gold, this is the exact setup now on gold, where to enter, how to take the trade, where the stop loss is. This is what members get. So that is not just a focus. This is trade execution. It tells you what you're going to do when price reaches a certain level, where you put in the stop, and how the trade is going to play out. So this is why you see gold having played out like this last week. So go out and check the video from 3 weeks back, not last week, the week before, how we focused that this was going to make a drop from right here and go down like that. That is gold. Right, now this is pound chief. Pound chief, we expected it to drop from around this level. So it has not. It has actually made a move like that. So pound chief will be doing an update on this one. It is not dropping as yet. It is doing this. We'll do an update on this one. What do we expect from pound chief? You will see shortly. Right, so this is how pound chief has played out. As you can see, it has made a 3-wave move. It has made a double correction. So that means that that correction was not over. Now, this is now the cryptocurrencies. Look out for the cryptocurrency webinar immediately after this, or you can just check it out on the channel. So this is Ethereum. I'm just going to run through this quickly. I'm going to go into detail with this on the crypto webinar. This is Ethereum before and then after, trade executed, inch perfect, textbook setup. Litecoin, same thing, exact entry forecasted with stop, painless, inch perfect trades. This is I got out there, so let me just go back to where I was. I've lost my way there on the cryptocurrencies, but you'll see this in detail when we start with the crypto webinar. So this is now, let's just go to those again. This is Litecoin. So again, another one, textbook setup on Litecoin. As you can see, this is how it has played out. Right, so this is Bitcoin. Last week, this was last week, by the way. So we'll be doing a detailed analysis on this one in the crypto webinar if you'd like to see the cryptos. This Bitcoin textbook setup, pound Audi. This one was the trade that failed. I showed you this one last week, how this one, we focused it to the downside. It went and does this. When it did this, we knew that this one was not going to come down. So we get the trade to the upside, which I've shown you earlier. That is practical. That is how we trade practically. Right, so this is how pound Audi has done. So as I said, I'll show you all trade setups, win or lose. So this is the new one. As you can see, when the downside failed, we then went and took this one to the upside. And this is where we are currently. We are around these levels. We have now pulled back. You can check out your charts. We'll be doing an update on this one shortly. Right, I'll show you exactly why we expect this one to continue to the upside as well. CADCHF, this was last week. I've already shown you this one, that this one has made a double correction. Even though this has made now hit our stop, it is now continuing to the downside. We'll do an update on those ones. So let me go on to this week's setups. Let's go to this week's setups. So this was all last week. So that was CAD last week. Let's go to this week. Let's start with this week. How did we do it this week? Let's start with CAD. CAD, this was last week as well. Before and after, a couple of 100 pips. Now this is this is now for this week. Brent crude, we showed this one, but this one has played out in the last week. This is how Brent crude has dropped. As you can see, it made a continuation pattern here, a corrective structure there, and has now eventually dropped as expected. Right, so this one is Euro Pound. Euro Pound is currently on its way down. We are around this level now. We're expecting it to go to target. You can do the number, you can calculate the number of pips now. This is USDJPY. We're expecting this one to make a move to the upside. It has not gone as yet. What has happened here is that it has made an expanding flat. We'll be looking for this one to continue to the upside. All right. So this is USDJPY. Let's have a look at the next one here. This is USDJPY. Still last week, this actually. Brent crude. Last week, this is now showing you the entry here, how this one has dropped. This one is coming up again for the second time. This is now EURAUD, the latest chart on EURAUD. Let's go to this week. Right now, we are on the latest ones for this week. So this is the trade setup that we're currently on. We're currently on this one. We may make a pullback a bit here and then look for the drop there. So we'll be watching this one for a drop. So this, as you can see, this is the 2nd of October. This is the latest one that we're expecting now. Let's just have a look at this one before. As you can see, this one here, before this is on the 1 hour, we expected this one to make a 3-wave structure, has completed this. Now we are waiting for this move. We are looking for this move. We are already in this trade here. We may have entered prematurely, but that's fine. We've got stop loss placed strategically. We're going to be looking for this one to make a continuation pattern to the downside. As you can see, this 1, 2, 3 wave move, this X in purple is already in place. And now we're looking for this to the downside. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. This one is just contracted. It's exactly the same chart as the previous one. We're looking for this one to continue lower like that. Right, so that is EURCAD, and we'll be looking for EURCAD to continue lower. Euro Pound, this is the latest chart now. We're looking for this one to continue lower. As you can see, it's continuing lower like that. Pound AUD, this was the forecast from a couple of weeks back that it was going to make a move to the upside. As you've seen, Pound AUD has already made that move to the upside. So why did we get that trade wrong on Pound AUD? So we're expecting this one to make one more down before we get this big move to the upside. But we got this upside anyway here. Right, so that is Pound AUD. Let's see how this one has played out. As you can see, that's what is happening. Right, this is now Pound Yen. Pound Yen, last week we were looking for this to make a corrective structure, expecting it to continue after the corrective structure. It looks like it is making a very nice corrective structure here. I'll be looking at this one now shortly when we start with the trade setups. So this one is going very well. As you can see, that is the corrective structure is playing out as expected. This is what it is. It looks like we're gonna make one more up to play out this blue corrective structure here in the X degree before we make a move to the downside. Right, that's Pound AUD. AUD US dollar. You can see we've got that corrective structure that we're expecting. Now we're looking for downside. Right, so this is now, have a look at this one, USDCAD. We're expecting this one to make a double correction. You'll see shortly why we're expecting these to possibly make a double correction and then downside. Right. I want to look only at the trade setups. This is Brent crude. We've already looked at this one. Let's have a look here. This is Euro Pound. I think we've already covered all of these. We've covered all of this, and let's go straight into the market analysis now. Right, let's go into the market analysis so we can have a look at what we're expecting for the next week. Let's have a look here. So we start with the US dollar pairs, very interesting structures. So I'm going to be referring to some of the charts on the website here so you can see how we forecast this. Let's start with Euro US dollar and the DXY. So Euro US dollar, you can see that even after this one made this three-wave move here, we're not expecting this one to make a move to the downside just as yet. Right, so last week I showed you how pattern traders and support and resistance traders will be trading this one. Some will be looking at this as a head and shoulders. I've shown you this week. Just have referred to that video. So if you were trading head and shoulders, this one is already broken here and it is now making a move to the upside. So that means you would not have gotten that trade. So what are we expecting for this one in the next week? So let's have a look. So there's a possibility that this one has made this corrective structure here. Let me just have a look here, refer you to the structure here, the exact chart. I want to look at the exact structure here. So this is possibly a wave 3 with 1, 2, 3 here, WXY expanding flat on Euro US dollar. We are already here. It is already making this move. We will only confirm this wave 5 if we break out of this corrective structure. Okay, so watch out that corrective structure in the next coming week. So we are here now. This is on the daily. We've made 1, 2, 3 here. This is the expanding flat that I was showing you here. That is 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and 3 waves down. Very nice expanding flat. We've already started with the pulse move to the upside. Are we going to see this one make a push to the upside? Let's see how this one goes in the next week. So I'm going to go to the lower time frame. Right, so lower time frame, you'll be looking for this one to possibly make an expanding flat. Let's see if we're going to get that expanding flat. We've made a pulse move. Is this going to be an expanding flat? And then we're going to start making a move to the upside. At the moment, that move is not confirmed as yet. In fact, we can still make one more down here before we make a move to the upside. So let's watch how this one plays out in the next week. So the DXY is the opposite of Euro US dollar. DXY is showing more downside. Showing more downside here. This is a continuation pattern to the downside after making this three-wave structure here. It's similar to what you're seeing on the euro. Let me go back to the chart here so you can see what the DXY looks like. So the DXY on the 4-hour, you can see it's the opposite of what we're expecting of the euro. That's the same thing, expanding flat 1, 2, 3 there. And we'll be looking for this one to make continuation pattern to the downside. So we already have this move here. We already have this one here, and we're going to start getting this one to the downside. That will confirm the euro upside move on that. Okay, right. So that is the DXY and the euro, and that is what we're going to be looking at in the next week. Let's look at pound US dollar as well. Pound US dollar. Let's have a look here. We'll look at pound. So pound looks something like this here. This is a pullback here. So we're looking at this one as a wave 2, possibly a wave 2 here. This can either be the flat or this can be 3 waves. This can be the wave 1 here. And if that is wave 1 here, that means this is all a wave 2. Either way, the bias is the same. So we'll be looking for this one to continue to the downside. So watch out for that in the next week. So that is pound and the US dollar chief. US dollar chief is obviously similar to the DXY. We'll be looking for this one to make a continuation pattern to the downside. We'll be looking for this one to make a move to the downside. We may pull back slightly like that and we continue lower as follows. So that is the expectation on US dollar chief. US dollar CAD, I've already shown you this one, has made a 3-wave move. We forecasted this move to the upside here like that. That was a 3-wave move here, textbook stuff. We're coming down here. We've got a corrective structure here. We'll be looking for this one to make not all the way like that. So we could have a double correction here and make another 3 waves to the upside. Let me just show you back here on the website why this may be a double correction. On the daily, that's because this is a deeper corrective structure here. As you can see, that's the corrective structure we're looking at. Now let me show you back on the 4-hour. Now, if you look at the 4-hour, you will see that this is the first leg here. What we're looking for here is the X, and we're looking for this one to make this B corrective structure. Okay, so you can take a snapshot of this. I've given you the daily chart here. So this is what the expectation on US dollar CAD. But for now, the immediate move is to the downside. We're looking for downside there. Let's clean this up here and continue. Right, so that is US dollar CAD. Let's look at AUD US dollar. AUD US dollar. Let's have a look here again. AUD US dollar 4-hour. The expectation was this one to make 3 waves down here and make a corrective structure. So we are currently in this corrective structure. This can push to the upside. It can be a much deeper correction. And if this takes this low here, we're going to invalidate the downside. But for now, we're currently in this move. It could make a double. Watch out for this. And this is where we are now on US dollar, Audi US dollar rather. Watch out for this. If the euro starts pushing up higher, we could see this one pushing up higher again as well. The only invalidation of the structure to the downside is if this one touches that level, and that is based on the Elliott Wave structure. Right, so that is Audi US dollar. That's what we're looking at. New Zealand will be the same. As you can see, New Zealand, let's have a look here at the New Zealand as well. New Zealand 4 hour. 1, 2, 3, and expecting this one to make a pullback and then downside before pushing up higher, making this WXY in the red degree. I know I'm using yellow, but it's actually the red degree, and we'll be looking for upside. Where are we currently? We've made a push to the upside here. That's the push that we've made here. So let's see if we're going to make a deeper corrective structure here. Again, the validation for the downside structure here, or for the upside here, is touching this structure to the upside. US dollar ZAR. So US dollar ZAR is very interesting. Let's have a look here. So what did we say last week? Last week we said, rather a couple of weeks back when we were coming down with this, I said if we come down here, we're going to see US dollar ZAR retest the all-time highs again. Right, so let's see how this one has played out. We're seeing the three-way moves to the downside, 1, 2, 3. Last week, I expected this one to go to the all-time highs, but it makes sense that we're not going the up there yet, because these can still be a three waves to the downside like that, and make and confirm that this is a double XYZ. So that means continuation pattern to the downside. We get a double. We're still expecting the same. It's just that this one has not reached completed the Y leg as yet. So we'll be looking for this on US dollar ZAR. So US dollar ZAR, we're still going to see more weakness. That makes sense because we're expecting US dollar weakness in the next week as well. Right, pound yen, you've seen this one during trade setup. We're still expecting this one to make a continuation pattern to the upside. Right, so that is what we're expecting on pound. So still expect a bit more upside here before any drop comes. So you don't do anything there on pound yen. US dollar yen, this is the expanding flat we were talking about. We've made a move up here, correction here. Watch out for this one to push a bit higher in the next week. Euro yen. Now euro yen, let's have a look here on euro yen. It's going to be very interesting in the next week here on euro yen. I've just shown you that we're expecting upside on US dollar yen, and this is supposed to be correlated, but it does happen that you don't get that correlation again every time. So this is euro yen. We're looking at this as a corrective structure here. Are we going to get the euro to continue lower? A couple of weeks back, I showed you why the euro may have completed its upside and we may be ready for downside. So watch out for this one to give us a continuation pattern to the downside. We'll be looking for this one to make this move. Let's show the structure here. All right, so this is the euro. We're looking at this as an expanding flat. 1, 2, 3. Are we going to start making a move to the downside? So watch out for a corrective structure here for downside. That's euro. CHF is similar. That is CHF yen. So CHF yen, also an expanding flat. Are we going to see this one drop? Only if we get a corrective structure here, we'll be looking for this one to continue lower. All right. Right, so that is what we're going to be looking at on euro and the CHF. Right, let's have a look here. What's the next one here? The next one is CAD yen. CAD yen could be a trade of the week. Watch out for CAD yen in the next week. Could get a very interesting trade here on CAD yen. Watch out for this. So now, this is a corrective structure. Anybody can see. This is obvious. So how do we know that this is ready to make a move to the downside? Last week we spoke about a false breakout. Some call it a false breakout. It's never a false breakout. It was just never a breakout in the first place. So how do we know when we're ready to trade this? We've got an indicator that tells us that this is ready to continue to the downside and it's ready for a trade to be executed. So that is the indicator that confirms for us to execute the trade there. Right, so that is CAD yen, so we'll be looking for that one to make a continuation pattern to the downside. Audi yen could still make this three-wave pullback here. We can see short-term downside and upside. So let's just wait for this one to set up here. That is Audi yen, New Zealand yen, the same. It's not ready to make a push to the upside as yet. We've got that move. We could be seeing this one on New Zealand yen. A five-wave move to the upside, a three-wave pullback. Let's see if we're gonna get this one to do that. So it's a waiting game on the yen pass in the next week. Right, gold, we're expecting downside. Gold, we're expecting downside. This is the way we took the trade on gold. We got the trade here for the downside on gold. We exited here on gold. This was the exit on gold. Now it has made this pullback, and we're expecting downside and then upside. So to see why I'm expecting downside here and then upside, go and check the video from 3 weeks back. Let me see if I can refer you to the exact date here. Let's go back here. So you can go to the video from 21-25 September to see how we forecasted gold. Okay, 21 to 25 September to see how we forecasted the gold move. Right, so now we're expecting this one to make one down and then upside. What is happening with silver? Silver, you're expecting downside as well. Watch out for this move on silver. So it may not go all the way down. This is 3 waves up. We're seeing downside here. Is this downside gonna go all the way? It may. Or is this downside gonna go only short move like that and make another 3 waves move to the downside like that? So that will only be confirmed with the indicator when we get to this level. Right, so that is gold. Platinum, expect downside as well. Platinum, we're expecting this one to make a continuation to the downside. Let's look at Brent crude. Brent crude, we've looked at it a number of times now. We are currently at this level here, expecting it to continue lower. Any correction here, we're expecting Brent crude to push lower. This is the structure we're expecting on Brent crude. So expect continuation to the downside. We've already also looked at pound chief as well. So pound chief, I showed you that we tried to take a trade here 2 weeks back. That did not play out because this one has actually made a 3-wave structure here. But it looks like we're making another continuation pattern to the upside. So this may actually be starting a leading diagonal here with 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next week, you'll be trading this to the upside for the 5. So if that is a leading diagonal, you're gonna get a pullback before you get a move to the upside. So watch out for this push to the upside, and then you'll be looking for this one to ride the rest of the move. Pound Audi. Now pound Audi, again, this is the setup we had here from around these levels, has made this push, has made this 3-wave pull back here. This move to the upside has not confirmed upside as yet, but we'll be looking for this to continue higher. Keep an eye on that. Pound CAD. Pound CAD is also showing upside after this 3-wave move, but needs to be confirmed. We need to see this upside playing out here. All right, that's what we're going to be looking at in the coming week. Just 1 second there, guys. My mouse is stuck here. Right, so sorted. So this is pound CAD, and that is what we're going to be looking at in the next week. Pound New Zealand, look for this one to push up higher. We've got a corrective structure here. We've got to move up here passively. Look for this one to make a move. So these moves are not the complete reversals, but rather corrective structures that will eventually continue lower. Euro pound, you've seen this one under trade setups. This is the way we've got euro pound, and the target was for this one to make a 3-wave move here, and it's already done that. Euro Audi, you've already seen this one here. So Euro Audi, this was the setup here. We got this one around this level, and this one was expected to go all the way. Let's have a look here at what the next move is going to be. So the next immediate move on this one, we did not quite reach that level here. So the structure here is one. Let's just have a look at the structure here. This is one here. Is this the end of the move? This could have been the end of the move. Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3 on this one here. So that move to the upside may have ended. We will confirm if the confirmation will come if we get a setup for a sell here on EURAUD. It actually makes sense because we're already on a Euro New Zealand sell here, so we could be getting another sell setup here. Let's just have a look here. Make this one closer. So we may actually be getting a very, very good sell setup on EURAUD on this one. Let's see how this one plays out in the next week. No confirmation as yet, but we'll be watching it. Let me go back one on EURAUD and just check it on the 1 hour. Let's check on the 1 hour as well. So on the 1 hour, we've got this one as a 1, 2, 3. That is a corrective structure. And now we're coming down with this one. So let's watch this one here. We'll see how this one plays out. So we'll be watching for a setup on the 1 hour. There's no setup on the 1 hour either. So there's a possibility that this actually makes 3 up, 3 down, 1 more up here, and then downside. Indicator is not showing us confirmation as yet. But it's a very interesting one when it sets up. EURCAD. EURCAD is a pulsing move to the upside. Let me go back to the 4 hour. EURCAD, we are already in this one. I've shown you this on the trade setup, trade recaps. This one has made this move. We've got this one in place now. We're coming down with this. In this case, we're already on the trade here from around these levels, right? So we may have entered prematurely. That doesn't matter. Our stop is a bit far. We'll be looking for this one to pull back and continue to the downside. Okay, so that is the setup here. We're already in the trade. Let's see how that one plays out. EUROCHF. Let's have a look here on EUROCHF. Just short term here, we've got 3 waves here. Look for this one to continue to the downside up to this level. Euro New Zealand, we're already in the trade on this one. I've shown you during trade setup how we forecasted the move to the upside. We didn't trade this upside. What we are trading now is this downside, because this downside is a bigger move, which will be something like this. Okay, so we're already running risk-free on this one. This is Euro New Zealand. We'll be trading this one to the downside. Any continuation pattern to the downside is a confirmation for that trade to the downside. Let's go to some of the crosses. This is now AUDCAD. We've made a pulsing move to the upside. Is this confirming continuation to the upside? Let's watch for the next week to see if we're going to get that, or if it's still going to give us a bit of a deeper corrective structure before upside. AUDCHF. AUDCHF. Expect continuation to the upside on this one. Has not actually completed the structure we were looking for here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 on this one here. We're expecting this one to make this continuation pattern 1, and expecting this one to make a continuation pattern there. So there's still a possibility we get 1 more down here before continuation to the upside. Let's see, if we get a SPY setup here, then that means that we have got this structure in place and has made a running flat, and we're going to continue to the upside. We will wait for that confirmation on AUDCHF. Audi New Zealand. Right, so this one is a tricky one here. Let's see on Audi New Zealand. Audi New Zealand has made a 3-wave pullback, a very nice corrective structure. This is the 3-wave pullback on Audi New Zealand here. We're expecting upside here, but that upside needs to be confirmed here. Are we going to get this one to confirm the upside and give us a corrective structure, or it's going to make 1 more down? So if it makes 1 more down, there's a possibility that it makes 1 more down. So we've got 1, 2, 3, a pullback that is X, and we can have this one as another 3 waves, and then we look for upside. Let's do it in 3 waves as well. So this one could be an expanding flat, 1, 2, 3, and then we make a move to the upside. So we can still get 1 more down and then upside on Audi New Zealand. New Zealand CAD, you've seen this one under trade setups. We traded this one. This was on the 1 hour. This was this one here. We got this one, this move to the upside, to the downside here. Now we've got 3 up. Looks like we're getting another one here. We could be making another move to the upside here. Let's see how this one plays out. We're not trading that at the moment. We'll wait for that confirmation. New Zealand CHF. New Zealand CHF, we're currently in the trade on this one. It's going pretty slow. Let's see how this one goes. So if we get out of this structure here on New Zealand CHF, we're going all the way to the upside like that. So why would we go to the upside like that? That's because this would have been a move to the upside, a correction there, and then upside here. It looks like it's going correctively. Doesn't matter. We are already in the trade from here, and we'll be looking for this one to push up higher. Lastly, on the Forex pairs, that's CADCHF. Watch out for this move here. So CADCHF, you're looking for this one to push higher. We are within this corrective structure. This one will be another interesting one to take to the upside. Right, let's go to the indices. Last week we showed the indices, three-wave structure. This was the expectation. We saw this one coming down here. We expected this one to make a move to the upside, and we have now broken out of this structure. That was the expectation last week on all the indices, that we're going to have 1, 2, 3 and push up to the upside. Now we're looking for this corrective structure to confirm those upside moves. So that is what we're expecting for the next week. You're waiting for these structures to play out, and then you take the trades to the upside. Dow, similar. As you can see, also simple three-wave structures. One, flat correction, downside. It's an ABC corrective structure, and looking for this one to push to the upside. Now we're waiting for these setups to the upside. We are in this trade, so I did not update this one. We'll update this one next week because they are still in play. Dow transportation. This one we did not take, although this one is also setting up nicely after this running flat there, and we'll be looking for this one. It's actually a regular flat. We'll be looking for this one to continue higher. But this S&P 500 had a better structure than the rest. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, same, three-wave structure and then upside. Flat there. Got a flat correction there. You've got a pulsing move, correction, and a pulsing move. Now we're looking at this one to make a move to the upside. Now there's another possibility here on the NASDAQ that needs to be confirmed. So this is 1, 2, 3. Is this now a three-wave structure? If it is a three-wave structure, the NASDAQ can actually make a double like that before resuming a move to the upside. Let's watch how this one plays out in the next week. So this could be a WXY corrective structure, and the NASDAQ resumes a move to the upside. But we'll watch that as it plays out next week. UK 100, we are still looking at this bigger structure. This bigger structure on the NASDAQ. After this move here, we expect the NASDAQ to make a move to the upside. So any buy setup, not the NASDAQ, the UK 100, my apologies. So this is this is a move to the upside. We've got a corrective structure here. We'll be looking for this to complete, and then we'll be looking for trades to the upside like that. DAX. All right, so this is on the DAX. Let's have a look at the DAX here. We'll be looking for this one. Has made a move to the upside. This is a corrective structure. I'm going to see the DAX push up higher like that. Let's see how this one goes in the next week. So this looks like a regular flat on the DAX. Let's see if we're going to get a push to the upside. Nikkei. Nikkei is crawling up slowly, but showing upside. So this is another one here. Look for the Nikkei to do this. We've had this continuation pattern here. This could be making a diagonal. It could even go up as a diagonal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we're looking for this one to complete that last bit of wave 5 in the structure. So let's see how the Nikkei is going to play out. So what are we expecting in the next move to be on the Nikkei? We're expecting this one to make a continuation pattern to the upside. And lastly, the Nifty has made a three-wave pullback. This is confirming an upside. This is a nice upside trade on the Nifty. After the three-wave pullback, the Nifty should continue to the upside here. We'll be looking for this to continue higher. Right, so that's all I have for you this week. Trade responsibly. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as the bell notification button, so you can get an alert next time we upload a video. I will see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.